Most men get this completely wrong. They think a woman is looking for the perfect man, perfect looks, perfect words, perfect timing, perfect confidence. So they try to become something they're not. They overthink every message. They try to never make a mistake. They try to impress her in every moment, but while they're busy chasing perfection, they become unpredictable. One day they're fully present, the next day they're distant. One moment they're confident, the next they're overthinking everything. And that inconsistency is what quietly pushes her away, because what a woman actually looks for is not perfection. It's stability, emotional stability, the kind where your energy doesn't keep changing based on your mood. The kind where your presence feels the same day after day, the kind where she doesn't have to guess which version of you she's going to get. Because uncertainty creates tension, and no one feels safe in tension for too long. A woman can deal with flaws. She can accept imperfections. She can overlook mistakes, but she struggles with unpredictability. Because when your emotions are unstable, your reactions become unstable. And when your reactions are unstable, she starts walking carefully around you, thinking before she speaks, holding back what she feels, trying not to trigger a different version of you, and that's where connection starts to break. Not loudly, not instantly, but slowly, because she's no longer relaxed around you, and without that sense of ease, attraction fades. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you weren't consistent enough to feel safe. That's why emotional stability is so powerful. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it doesn't look impressive from the outside, but it creates something deeper. Calm, predictability, trust, because when a woman knows that your energy is grounded, that your reactions are controlled, that your presence doesn't depend on temporary emotions, she relaxes. She stops overanalyzing. She stops preparing for sudden changes. She stops protecting herself from emotional shifts. And that's when real connection begins. Most men try to win her with moments, but what actually keeps her is your pattern. The way you show up consistently, because perfection is impossible, but stability, that's a choice. And the man who masters that doesn't need to impress. His presence alone feels different. Most men believe attraction is built through what they say, the right lines, the right compliments, the right timing, so they focus on saying the perfect things. I care about you, you matter to me, I'm different, and in the moment it works, she listens, she smiles. She might even believe it, but only at first, because over time something shifts. She stops listening to your words and starts watching your patterns. The way you show up, the way you disappear, the way your energy changes without explanation. Because words create an image, but behavior reveals the truth. And a woman is always reading that truth, even when she's silent. If you say she's important, but only give attention when it suits you, she notices. If you say you're consistent, but your effort keeps fluctuating, she notices. If you say you care, but your actions don't reflect priority, she notices. Not immediately, not dramatically, but quietly, and that quiet observation is what builds her real perception of you. Because she's not judging you based on one moment, she's watching the pattern, the repetition, the small details that most men think don't matter. That's where your real identity shows up. And here's the truth most men don't realize. You don't lose her because of one wrong sentence. You lose her because your behavior slowly stops matching your words, and once that gap appears, everything you say starts losing weight. Your reassurance feels weaker, your compliments feel less real, your promises feel uncertain, because she's no longer hearing your words, she's comparing them to your actions. And if those two don't align, she trusts the actions every time. That's why consistency in behavior is more powerful than perfection in speech. Because anyone can talk, but very few can show up the same way repeatedly, without slipping, without changing energy, without creating confusion. And when a woman sees that alignment, where what you say matches what you do, she stops questioning you. She stops second, guessing your intentions, because now she doesn't need words to understand you. Your behavior already told her everything. This is where most men lose connection without even realizing it. Because when a woman expresses how she feels, most men don't actually listen. They react. They interrupt. They correct. They explain. They try to fix. Don't think like that. It's not a big deal. You're overreacting. Just do this instead. And in their mind, they're helping. They think they're solving the problem. But what they don't see is that she never asked for a solution. She asked to be understood. There's a difference, a big one. Because when you try to manage her emotions, you make it about control. But when you try to understand her emotions, you make it about connection. And a woman can feel that difference instantly. Because emotions are not problems to be solved. They are experiences to be felt. And when she shares those feelings with you, she's not testing your intelligence. She's testing your presence. Can you sit with her emotions without trying to change them? Can you listen without rushing to respond? Can you let her feel what she feels without making her feel wrong for it? Because the moment she feels judged or corrected, she starts closing off. Not loudly, but internally, she speaks a little less, she shares a little less, she trusts a little less. Because now, it doesn't feel safe to be fully open. And once that happens, connection starts fading. Not because of a big fight, but because she no longer feels understood. And here's the truth most men miss. You don't build connection by having all the answers. You build it by giving space. Space where she doesn't have to defend her feelings. Space where she doesn't have to explain herself twice. Space where she can just be without being fixed. Because when a woman feels understood, she relaxes. Her guard drops. Her energy softens, her trust deepens, not because you solved anything, but because you stayed. You listened, you didn't try to control the moment, and that's rare. Most people react to emotions. Very few can actually hold them, and the man who can becomes the one she opens up to again and again. Without hesitation, without fear, just because she knows she'll be understood. This is where most men exhaust themselves for the wrong reason. They think more effort means more attraction, more messages, more attention, more time, more explaining. More trying. They believe if they just do enough, she'll stay. But that's not how it works, because it's not about how much you do. It's about what she feels while you're doing it. You can give her constant attention and still make her feel uncertain. You can text her all day and still make her feel unseen. You can do everything right and still create no real connection. Because effort without the right emotional impact feels empty, and a woman can feel that. She can feel when something is forced. When something is done out of fear of losing her, not out of genuine presence. Because real connection isn't built on quantity. It's built on emotional experience. The feeling she has when she's around you. Does she feel calm or confused? Does she feel seen or overlooked? Does she feel secure or uncertain? That's what stays, not the number of messages. Not the amount of time, just the feeling. And here's the truth most men realize too late. You don't lose her because you didn't do enough. You lose her because the feeling wasn't right, the connection didn't feel stable, the energy didn't feel clear. The experience didn't feel safe, and no amount of extra effort can fix that, because emotions don't respond to pressure. They respond to consistency, presence, and authenticity. That's why sometimes one calm, grounded, emotionally present moment can mean more than hours of trying too hard. Because in that moment she feels something real, and real always stands out. Most men try to win her with more. But what actually keeps her is how you make her feel with less forcing, less overthinking, less proving. More presence, more clarity, more emotional stability, because in the end she's not measuring your effort. She's remembering your impact, and that impact is what decides everything.